Now we're going to talk about a second habit. The corporate Sufi philosophy is surrounded about the concept of transformational. But business is transactional. Help us reconcile transformational versus transactional.
So if you're looking at a short-term gain or short-term success, you worry about the transaction. But if you're looking at a long-term perspective, you think of transformation. There's a study in Harvard where they say that the long-term perspective is a single most important determinant of an individual and an organizational success. So people who think long-term are more inclined to be more successful than people who think short-term. So if you're short-term oriented, you'll think of a transaction. How do I get the best of this transaction? But if you're thinking long-term, you're looking at transformation, which makes you sustain your success and which makes you get better and better and better every day in every way.
So the better and better every day. Talk to us about how do we go from being ordinary to extraordinary, from shifting our mindset from mediocrity or delivering mediocre products to excellent products. Is there a process to that?
Yeah, so I think a transformational leader thinks about how do I look at ordinary people and make them extraordinary. A coach in a football team or in a rugby team or a cricket team, his or her job is to make sure how I get the best out of my people and maybe have an ordinary team and get extraordinary results by doing things that are transformational. They don't happen by transaction because now we're transforming people to work at a higher level from what they are normally used to or have the background for. There's a beautiful quote by William Arthur Ward where he says, he actually talks about teachers, but you can apply that to leaders. A mediocre leader tells people what to do. A good leader explains. A superior leader demonstrates, whereas a great leader inspires. So what kind of leader would you want to be? Do you want to be a mediocre leader that tells people what to do? You want to be a good leader that explains? You want to be a superior leader that demonstrates? Or you want to be a great leader that inspires? Of course, most people will say, I want to be a great leader that inspires. So the next question would be, how do you inspire? How does one inspire? So the way you inspire is an inside-out approach. If you're not inspired, you can't inspire others. So the more you work on yourself, the more you're able to work on others. So a transformational leader first works on himself or herself before he or she tries to transform other people. Yeah, but you take them from mediocre to inspiring, and you want to take them from ordinary to extraordinary. And by doing a little extra.
Well, so as a leader, of course I want to be inspiring. Of course I want people to follow us through their ability to deliver and feel good. And yes, we want to sell a hotel room if I was owning a hotel, but the experience must be wow. We need to inspire people so that they can sell the hotel rooms and really help us grow. But it's actually a step-by-step process. I can't inspire without having fulfilled a few of the basic things. So are there any stepping stones to go from the 4 steps that you've just mentioned, from being ordinary and even mediocre? How do I know when I should go to the next step, or that I am actually improving myself and that I'm actually helping my people? How should I be managing my people perhaps in a different way?
So let's say, Salim, I'm the CEO and you are one of my colleagues who are reporting to me, and my goal is to make you, inspired and make you be transformed to a much higher level. So the first step is, I have to build a rapport with you. I have to build trust with you. You need to know that I care about you. You don't look at me as somebody who's going to give me orders. Is there somebody here who is looking after my best interest? And my goal is to uplift you so that you grow and get higher and higher in the ladder in your career so that you can perform better and feel good and get paid better and be rewarded better. But at the same time, I, as the CEO or the owner of the business, is also going to benefit by that process. So the first step is, slow down to speed up. And slowing down to speed up here is about building rapport, building trust, building care, so that you want to work with me. You will die for me. I used to die in a very extreme word, but you will be there for me because you care about me and I care about you. So we are a team, we are united, and that becomes the foundation. And then of course, now that we have the rapport, we're transparent, we're authentic. When you talk about processes, you can challenge me and say, Azim, but this is a better way to do this. So you almost take ownership of working with me and think like me, so we are both on the same page, trying to work and being engaged, empowered, energized, and basically apply the ownership philosophy as opposed to just take orders. I think those become very important to then go, and then process is easy because there is no toxicity, there is no doubt, there is no suspicion, there is no politics. It's here about, we're here and we have the same goal.
So it sounds like transformational requires a certain level of authenticity, of transparency, of empowerment. That's what you're telling us?
Yes, absolutely. A transformation leader engages, empowers, energizes. A transformation leader gives orders or micromanages because they don't trust the other person. So how do you become that kind of a person who is engaging, empowering, energizing? How do you become a person who catches people doing things right as opposed to fault finding? If you catch people doing things right, they do more right things. If you catch people doing things wrong things, their focus goes on wrong things.
So it's very positive reinforcement. If you catch people doing the right things, actually, it's not a natural thing in an entrepreneur's mindset. We try and see where's the problem. We don't look at where the great stuff, what's happening that's right. And so I think approaching the positivity of the greatness in our people allows us to develop them better.
Beautiful, yeah. I think I remember a quote by Krishnamurti, the spiritual guru. It was when he was getting older, he asked his disciples, do you want to know my secret? I said, of course we don't want to know your secret. So he said, my secret is I don't mind what happens. So what he's saying basically is you cannot always control every outcome that happens. All you can control is your actions, your attitude, your approach. And as long as you are doing that, things will happen. And even if a bad thing happens, you say it's the best thing that happened. Because you're always looking at the bright side of things, because you know that everything happens and every time there's a mistake, it could be an expense or it could be an investment. Okay? If you're transformational, you look at a mistake as an investment that I can learn from, which will prevent me bigger mistakes later. If you're a transactional leader, you're going to be making it an expense and make a big mountain after a molehill, right?
So there seems to be a lot of self-reflection on a leader to be able to shift from transactional to transformational. Now you're telling us transformational is a long-term, transactional is just of today. But you've also previously told us that look at day by day. So help us understand that if you're asking me to look at a day by day, what are my 3 priorities for tomorrow? Every night I need to plan my 3 priorities so I have a wow day. But you're also telling me I need to be transformational, so I need to look at the long term. Help me understand the difference between...
Yes. So whatever you do on the daily basis, they can also be a stepping stone to a long-term outcome. But you're saying today I'm going to take this piece, so maybe today I'm going to just work on the rapport with my colleague, because we have some issue about rapport. So I want to focus on communication. I might go for coffee, I might go for lunch, I might go for a walk and talk about, tell me more about you, Salim, so that's part of my long-term thinking, but I'm taking a piece of that long-term on the day.
Fantastic. So summarize for us that second habit of shifting from transactional to transformational.
So it starts from, asking yourself, what kind of person am I? And what kind of a leader am I? At home, do I want my kids to be a transactional taskmaster? Or do I want to be transformational? The best gift you can give your children is roots and wings. Roots is the ethics and principles you teach them that becomes their foundation so they don't do bad things. And wings is the self-esteem you give them so they believe in themselves so they can not succumb to temptation and they have the self-esteem. So if that is your goal as a parent, then you're focusing on roots and wings. And then your habits revolve around that. Instead of micromanaging, instead of catching people doing things wrong, you're always looking at, with words you can only preach. With action you teach. Kids don't learn from what you tell them. Kids learn from what they see. So that becomes your modus operandi and you work around. So your habits is around that kind of philosophy, and then you operate around that my goal is to transform ordinary to extraordinary. My goal is to catch people doing things right. My goal is to coach and mentor instead of, give orders. My goal is to be inspiring as opposed to being, giving people instructions, right? And that becomes and then you watch your progress in how you're going about it. And once it becomes a habit, the beauty about habit is, if I ask you right now, are you breathing? Are you breathing?
I didn't think about it, but I am.
So when a habit becomes as natural as breathing, it's called mastery. Because you drill and you drill and you drill until it becomes natural. So when you're doing this kind of habits of transformation, and then when you go to sleep, you evaluate yourself and say, how was I with was it transformational today or was it transactional? And write a journal where you say, this is what I did for transformation. This I could have done better because I went into transaction, because I got so caught up with firefighting that I lost sight of what I really need to achieve for the long term.
Excellent. Esteem, thank you very much.
So I hope you benefited from the 7 habits we've talked about with Salim and myself. And they are life-changing habits. And if you implement in your life, it can be a huge benefit for you. It's been a huge benefit for me. They're not easy to make it as natural as breathing and become a master at it. And that's why we're offering this program to help you implement in such a way that you become a master at them, so they can be lifelong habits for you, which can be transformational in your life. So thank you for being here, and we're looking forward to our workshops and weekly exercises with you.